Carol, would you please read the roll call?
Councilwoman Burke Gonzalez.
Present.
Councilman Lees.
Present.
Councilwoman Overby.
Here.
Councilman Bragman.
Here.
Supervisor Van Scoyac.
Present. Please join me in saying the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America,
to the
the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I now ask that everyone take a moment of silence in the memory of George Floyd. Thank you, everyone. I'd like to read a statement. This is an official statement from Chief Michael Sarlo on behalf of our East Hampton Town Police Department. The East Hampton Town Police Department stands up for fair and equitable treatment of all people, regardless of race, religion, gender, sexual orientation, nationality, or ethnicity. We have forged a community policing model which encompasses outreach and cooperation across all facets of our community. We foster a relationship with the enforcement of laws, protection of life and property are paramount, yet delivered with impartial professionalism. People across this nation are rightfully distressed and outraged over the tragic death of George Floyd at the hands of 4 uniformed police officers. Police officers share the shock and outrage with the community, yet we also take these callous actions as an assault, not just on Mr. Ford and people of color, but on the equity and trust we work so hard as a department to develop. The thank you letters and kind comments on the good deeds our fine officers perform every day are overwhelming, and we feel the support of our community during our duties. We recognize how the images of this injustice can challenge the trust in law enforcement, and we remain committed to continue our course of service to promote the values and principles which have earned that trust over the years. In 2015 and 2016, we mandated every police officer attend certified training in bias-free policing, and every new recruit retrieves this training during his time at the Suffolk Police Academy. We bring leaders and advocates of minority communities into our training sessions, and we share information and ideas, and we listen to their concerns. We choose to lead the cause for justice and fairness in law enforcement, while understanding there is no perfect officer or department, so we must always continue to evaluate and improve. We understand and appreciate the voices being raised in peaceful protest around our great nation, and we are honored by the peaceful show of unity here on the East End. We also call for an end to the continuous assaults of our fellow officers who are struggling through dangerous and impossible circumstances. We will continue to stand up for justice, fairness, and equality. A community united cannot be divided. Chief Michael Sarlo. And I want to thank the chief and the whole department for the excellence which they brought to their profession within our town. At this time, we have our town crier, Mr. Hugh King, with us today. Hugh, welcome.
Thank you, thank you. I figured today we should talk about something that's not polio. We're going to talk about John Howard Payne, whose birthday is on June 9th. John Howard Payne is, of course, known for writing the words to the song Home Sweet Home. Well, that obliterates his life's accomplishment. He was the first great child actor we had in our country. We think he's the first American actor to play the part of Hamlet. He was the first American actor to go to England and become successful. He was the first American playwright to have his plays done on the English theater scene. He wrote over 60 different pieces for the theater. What does everybody remember? The words to the song Home Sweet Home. After his acting career and his theater career were done, he became the consul general to Tunisia. He also was an advocate for the Cherokees and the Creeks as they were being removed from their lands in Georgia by President Andrew Jackson, who told the Supreme Court Justice John Marshall, when he made his decision that what he was doing was unconstitutional, Andrew Jackson said he's made his decision, let him enforce it. And Payne was involved, and he wrote a 14-volume history of the Cherokee Indians, which is probably the mainstay if you want to know about that group. He also considered it important for actors to wear period costumes when they were in plays. I didn't know this, but years ago, actors would go on stage in their regular clothes. Payne insisted not only you have costumes appropriate, you have scenery that was appropriate. And then we come to the legend of Home Sweet Home, okay? In the late 1800s, the man who owned Home Sweet Home told the reporter from the Brooklyn Daily Eagle that John Howard Payne was born in this house in East Hampton. The reporter runs back and tells the editor of the paper. They start this whole story about John Howard Payne being born in East Hampton or writing the words to the song in East Hampton. And by 1907, the church, St. Luke's Church, owned Home Sweet Home, but they didn't want it because they were going to build that beautiful stone edifice that they had. So they sold it to two people from the city, Gustav and Hannah Buke, who fixed the house up, filled it full of antiques, filled it full of memorabilia about John Howard Payne, and lived there for 20 years. When the husband died in 1927, the village bought it. Okay? Well, why was Home Sweet Home saved? Why did those two summer people buy it? Because of a fib. They thought Payne was born in the house. So the house got saved because of a lie. That's all I got. Have a good day.
Thanks so much to you, and I'm glad that you've adopted the protocols of John Howard Payne, and you're wearing your costume, your crier's hat, and have your bell. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Oh, thank you for having me.
We're going to take things a little bit out of order because we need to approve the warrant first. And Kathy Burke-Gonzalez, you will read the warrant resolution.
Sure. It's Resolution 2020-577. It's approval of claims. They total $1,457,976.35. And the utility warrant totals $21,005.25.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And carried. Thank you for that. We have one public hearing today, and this is for Community Choice Aggregation Energy Program. This is enabling legislation. We will have this presentation and hearing, which will be continued until a later date for additional opportunity for us to inform the public as to what this all means. And Carol, if you could please read the hearing notice.
Take notice that the Town Board of the Town of East Hampton will hold a public hearing on June 4th at 2 p.m. or as soon thereafter as this matter may be heard at East Hampton Town Hall, 159 Panago Road, East Hampton, to consider a local law entitled Community Choice Aggregation Energy Program, an abstract of which follows: a local law to enable the Town of East Hampton to create a Community Choice Aggregation CCA program to the full extent permitted by the Long Island Power Authority, LIPA, according to the policies and practices of the PSC CCA order, by which eligible customers of energy, electric and natural gas within the town may participate in the purchase of energy by way of a bidding process to secure the best available energy costs and to choose the source of power from renewable sources such as solar and wind power. Eligible customers will be automatically enrolled in the program and shall have the option to opt out of the program and continue to purchase energy from their previous providers. By developing a CCA program, eligible customers will have the opportunity to have more control over potentially lower their overall energy costs, spur clean energy innovation and investment, to improve customer choice and value, and to protect the environment. A full and complete copy of the local law is available on the town's website. Due to the public health and safety concerns related to COVID-19, the town board will not be meeting in person in accordance with the governor's executive order 202.1. The June 4th, 2020 meeting of the town board will be held via video conferencing, and a transcript will be provided at a later date. The public will have an opportunity to see and hear the meeting live and provide comments. The public can watch the live meeting on local TV Channel 22, and live online for the public meetings link on the LTV website. If any interested persons of the public would like to provide comments on the public hearing, comments can be called in during the meeting at the call number provided therein and on the town's website and displayed on the live feed at the time of the hearing, 351-888-6331. Pursuant to the requirements of the executive order of the governor of the state of New York, a transcript will be prepared of the public hearing and a copy shall be filed with the town clerk and placed upon the town's website, and comments will be accepted in writing by the town board to be received by email to cbrennan@ehamptony.gov or by mail to the town clerk, 159 Panago Road, East Hampton, New York, 11937, and actually received by close of business on June 12, 2020, or 1 week after the posting of the hearing transcript, whichever is later. Please check the meeting agenda posted on the website for any changes to the instructions to access the virtual meeting or for an updated information.
Thank you, Carol. We have Lauren Steinberg from our Natural Resources Department and Gordian Rack from Renewable Energy Long Island to give an overview of this legislation and what exactly CCA is.
Sure. So we prepared a presentation, which I will share now. So the presentation that we prepared today is a condensed version of a much longer presentation that on CCA that we gave at the town board work session on April 14th. A recording of that presentation, as well as a CCA FAQ sheet and other informational materials are available on the energy sustainability page of the town's website, as well as energizeeh.org. We also held 2 CCA information forums in September at Town Hall, and a recording of those is available on those sites as well. So to dive in, so Community Choice Aggregation, or CCA, is a program that allows local governments to procure energy supply on behalf of their residents, businesses, and municipal accounts from a provider other than the incumbent utility. CCA can procure electricity and or natural gas supply, as well as other products and services. Under CCA, municipalities and their residents have the choice over where the power they purchase comes from. In a CCA, a municipality enters into contracts with energy service companies, or ESCOs, for power purchase, power supply purchase options for residents and businesses within its jurisdiction. The municipality selects a default power supply, and individual customers are given the choice to either purchase that supply or another available option. Power supply options include a green product, which is power produced through 100% renewable sources, a brown product, which is power produced through non-renewable sources, or even some blend of both. Currently, there are 61 municipalities in New York State that purchase their energy supply through CCA programs, 38 of which offer 100% renewable power product as their default supply. CCA also has the potential to provide power at lower cost than the utility and rate stabilization through extended contracts. Towns, cities, or villages may form a CCA on their own or join with other municipalities. The utility continues to deliver power to all customers through the existing grid. CCA customers pay the ESCO for the power supply and the utility for the delivery, rather than paying the utility for both supply and delivery. And because power supply and delivery costs are separated by the utility and CCA only impacts the power supply side, transmission and distribution costs, so delivery costs, will not increase as a result of a municipality establishing a CCA. CCA is an opt-out program where most utility customers are auto-enrolled but can opt out at any time without penalty and return to the utility's default power provider without any interruption in their service. Prior to enrollment, customers will receive an opt-out letter detailing the CCA program and provide options available to them through the CCA, including rates and instructions for the opt-out process. The opt-out letter must explain to customers that if they do not opt out, they will be enrolled in the CCA for the municipality's default power supply unless they select to purchase another available supply option. Municipalities may hire a CCA administrator responsible for program organization, administration, procurement, and communications. The administrator may be a municipality, a nonprofit organization, a private firm, or some other third party that is well-versed in the development and operation of CCA programs and knowledgeable of energy markets. The CCA administrator's fees are built into the energy pricing offered by the ESCOs, and there is no administrator fee collected until the CCA begins to procure power supply. The CCA administrator also works with the municipality on the CCA implementation plan, which includes a description of the CCA program and its goals, plans for multiple methods of targeted community outreach and education, drafts of the opt-out letter and all other communications distributed to the public, and a CCA liaison available to respond to customer questions and concerns. They also develop a customer data protection plan, which describes how the administrator will ensure the same level of customer data protection as provided by the utility. And the administrator submits both of these plans to the Public Service Commission for approval. CCAs that include options to purchase green power help to strengthen and grow renewable energy markets and influence those markets towards the future production of energy from renewable sources, including the development of local renewable energy generation. CCAs can also offer programs that can provide discounts and incentives on products and services exclusively to its participants for things like electric vehicles, energy efficiency upgrades, or solar panels, for example. CCA has been permitted in New York State since 2016 through an order issued by the Public Service Commission that established the framework that all CCAs must follow. However, that Public Service Commission applied to investor-owned utility service territories only. So because LIPA is a public utility, that order did not apply. But on May 20th of 2020, after requests by multiple Long Island municipalities, LIPA adopted amendments to its electrical services tariff that, as of June 1st, allowed CCAs to be established on Long Island. The first step for municipalities considering CCA is to adopt authorizing legislation. The legislation authorizes that municipalities can establish a CCA such that the CCA can replace the utility as the default power supplier for the municipality. Adopting authorization does not commit the town to establishing a CCA, but it is required to further explore what a CCA in East Hampton would look like. Southampton and Brookhaven Town have already adopted this legislation. Following the adoption of authorizing legislation, the town may proceed in selecting an administrator, developing an implementation plan, continuing its outreach and education, and exploring what energy supply options and prices ESCOs may offer. The process starts with the administrator requesting aggregated usage data from the electric and/or gas utilities. The town then issues a bid to ESCOs that may include a request for certain types of power supply, like green, brown, or blends. And ESCOs respond to that bid with options that will meet 100% of our energy supply needs at a fixed dollar per kilowatt or dollar per therm rate. The administrator and the municipality review the bid responses, and if they decide to, then they enter into supply contracts with ESCOs. Municipalities may discontinue the process of establishing a CCA at any time prior to entering into supply contracts with ESCOs at no cost or penalty. And I think that it's important to reiterate that establishing a CCA is a process, and there are many steps in that process before a municipality really reaches the point where it is purchasing power and or natural gas through the CCA. And as we go through that process, there's going to be questions that come up, and we're going to need to seek out the answers to those questions. But we aren't going to go through that alone. It is the administrator's job to help us navigate through this. And other Long Island municipalities are a little bit further along in the process than we are, that we can learn from and even join forces with.
Thank you very much, Lauren. Michael, do we have any callers on the line for this hearing?
Yes, there are 3 callers on hold. I can open up the first caller if you'd like.
Great, thank you so much.
Caller, you are on the air. Could you state your name, please?
I guess that. How do we? Scott Bludorn is here.
Hey, Scott.
Hi, Scott. How
Hello?
are you?
Oh, hi.
Welcome to the meeting.
You're on the air.
You
Hi,
wanted
thank
to comment on the
Yeah, I
enabling.
just wanted. Yeah. Yeah, I just wanted to just state my statement of support for CCA for exploring any and all options for a renewable power solution for East Hampton Town's power needs. I just think that the program is going to allow a greater flexibility, more choice. I think that's better than just defaulting to the one default option. So I'm putting my full recommendation into exploring CCA for the town of East Hampton. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Scott. Mike,
Thank
do you
you.
have any other callers on the line?
Yes, we do. We have two more. I will unmute the next one.
Hello, it's Zach Ricone.
Hi, Zach. How are you?
Hello, Peter. Well, I'm fairly well. And let me say that, you know, I've been, as you know, because I wrote you all about it, I was trying to follow the law that I was very excited that LIPA voted on, I guess it was May 23rd, and just came in, and may have changed some of the views that I was carrying about how the CCAs work, may or may not be the same. And I'm hoping you'll give answers, or someone will give answers tonight. If not, maybe they'll be there when we have a more public back and forth. I mean, the first one that I assume has not changed is that we still stay with the same cable we have always had, and that there's just one cable, and we don't see two or three cables, right? We don't see one new cable for a CCA that carries clean energy, one, you know, CCA that is mixed, the brown, and one from LIPA. Is that correct? We just all keep, we all work off the same cable, right?
We're not replacing the infrastructure. The
Right.
electron from any particular energy source go over the grid. It's not segregated. And correct me if I'm wrong, either Gordian or Lauren, but basically the way energy travels around, it's produced at various locations, is put onto the grid. And what this basically does is allows, in the case of a CCA, to specify what type of energy you want purchased on behalf of your customers. And then that grows that energy market and puts more of that green energy on the grid, because you're basically designating that your needs will be met with whatever percentage of it. But the actual electrons could be generated from any other source, but you're still bringing that energy, you're transitioning that energy onto the grid that may not be there already.
Yeah. Well, let me see. Okay. So going over that, basically, we all know that all of Long Island is connected on more or less, you know, one line of cables. I'm not saying we all get exactly the same thing. I understand how fast electricity can be from where it's put out. But what we're saying is that the person who is getting electricity from LIPA and versus the person getting electricity on the clean CCA, they're getting the same electricity.
Well, in a sense, basically what it does is that energy is provided to the local customers through the existing grid, which is managed right now by PSEG in a contract with LIPA. But if you're purchasing, you know, fossil fuel energy only, that's all you're going to get on the grid. If you're mixing that in by demanding renewable energy, that means that some of the fossil fuel purchased energy will be displaced by renewable energy. Therefore, you're increasing the percentage across the grid of renewable energy.
Well,
Peter, I think you have that wrong. I think you better get an electrician in. I think you got to get it. That's not right.
Can I get just a quick comment in, Zach? I think it's
yeah.
What Zach is saying is it has some accuracy in it, in that if you get onto a CCA program, you can't identify the electrons that we use as coming from renewable versus non-renewable.
That's correct. I understand.
Sort of like a water system. It all goes into the system. And Peter's correct that in general, by having communities sign on to CCA, the overall source of supply can change. So the percentage of the
you
overall.
You don't get to designate that what turns your lights on is only from renewable energy.
Right.
Because it all gets mixed onto the grid. But
you can't identify
if you don't have a CCA, if you're not promoting renewable energy, chances are you'll have a much dirtier energy for a higher percentage. And, renewable energy would then have a chance to displace some of that dirtier fuel.
Right, but am I right?
Higher system.
A good way to build markets. Demand would increase for renewables.
Absolutely.
Am I right?
Go ahead, Zach.
I agree. But am I right? And part of the reason why it'd be so good to get Brookhaven, I'm a supporter of CCA and have been since late 2018. But I want to be very accurate. What would really be important is getting all of Long Island moving to CCA zoning, because let's just take an example. East Hampton, that is anywhere, depending on the time of year, it has a real change, maybe 1% of all the Long Island electricity to 2.5% in the summer or something. If we were the only CCA and half of us what we ordered wanted clean energy, we would have a very, very small effect on the amount of clean energy entering Long Island. But there would be a positive change, but it'd be very, very small. If I understand correctly, that's correct, but that if we and Southampton and Brookhaven and then hopefully some more come in, now all of a sudden we still might not getting delivered to us high percentage of clean energy, but we will have made a large effect upon what is getting delivered. That's how I interpret it.
Yeah, I think that's correct, Zach. And I think in addition to that, the larger you're purchasing block, the more power you have in the market as well, and potentially the better rate you could get for your customers as well. So it is something that, and we hear that Brookhaven has now gotten ahead of us in terms of moving towards CCA, and Southampton's already passed their enabling legislation. And that's why, we think it's important to try and get through this process, at least with the enabling legislation adopted, so we can continue moving towards both informing the public and potentially partnering with other municipalities in our overall buying of power and the administration of a CCA.
Actually, I want to add something. Southampton hasn't merely passed the enabling legislation. They're the first to contract with the CCA administrator to coordinate the effort to create and implement the CCA program. So they're actually in the operative stage of creating the program. Mm-hmm. And they adopted it in November of 2018. So
then I have something
the implementing legislation.
Some confusion on, and so I know that Long Island has very different, the one and only, different laws that LIPA has and imposes compared to all the rest of New York State that the Westchester CCAs are in. I think, if I'm correct, that the Westchester CCAs buy their wind energy all over the state of New York, which they're allowed to do. And I think I read in our CCA proposal that we can do that also. I think I did. But I am fairly sure that's how Westchester works. They're not just buying ones that are around Westchester. I don't think there's that kind of energy. And I don't think that all that they buy, and maybe even only a small amount of what they buy, gets delivered to Westchester. And I was wondering, do we, one, have the liberty to do that if we choose we want that liberty? B, are we thinking that we will do that because that would probably lead to the least expensive clean energy, but not necessarily supporting the local clean energy? I mean, has this really been looked at and discussed, and am I looking at it at ways that are legal, that might come out?
My understanding is that's correct, that we can seek out energy anywhere in the state of New York, and there are, you know, competitive,
right.
There's competitive pricing that we can choose from. There, you know, there are some complexities to the pricing because of our weird regulatory system. Apparently, there's a little bit of a barrier, like an extra charge that's going to be imposed. But even so, what I understand is that even knocking back our energy cost by like a penny a kilowatt will produce a tremendous amount of savings. But yes, my understanding is we can reach out and use energy from anywhere in the state, and we can compare bids from different energy suppliers.
That could also be a blend of different sources of energy as well. So you don't have to lock into any one particular type of energy generation.
Well, I think it's great. That's what I, go ahead.
No. I just want to say, okay, one of the things that we're creating here and that CCAs allow us is to create demand for renewables. Otherwise, the utilities do not understand that we would like to have renewable energy. If we don't create the CCAs, ask for renewables, then they will not understand the marketplace. And we're trying to tell them what the marketplace is, at least in part, what people are asking for. And this allows us to do that. It gives us choice. And right now we don't have choice.
Mm-hmm. I'm near the end. It gives us market power because we can combine our energy use is something like less than half of the town of Southampton. So that when you aggregate Southampton and Brookhaven and East Hampton comes in, and maybe we can bring in the village or Sag Harbor, you amplify our power in the market because we're joining with a much larger group that create demand.
That's correct. And Zach, do you have any other questions before we go to the next caller?
Very, I know, I'll get off it very quick to what Mr. Bragman said. At a real expert at the discussion at Linda James's house was that January 2019, I think, said that basically we would represent about 1/3 of a combined CCA. We're roughly, and this I know is true, about 350,000 megawatts per year need, and Southampton is about double that. But what I want to say, going back, I'm really, really glad that people are, especially Mr. Bragman's, a lot of his answers, they're what I believed were going to go on, but I felt things were explained in a certain way, like this is all East Hampton, and that might be needed by certain citizens, but I'm much more of a let's improve all of New York, with a stronger part of our purpose being also helping East Hampton. And I think that's how I see it. And it's, I think, closer to the truth of how it's all going to work, and also be the least expensive, actually potentially maybe reduce prices, right? If you're shopping up outside of northwest the state, I mean, that could be fabulous financially. So I really appreciate that this is opening up things in me and learning, and look forward to learning more and adding more. Thanks.
Thanks for calling in, Zach, and you be well. Can we get the next caller on the line there, Mike?
Thanks.
Yes.
Thanks, Zach.
Hello, it's Linda James.
Hi, Linda. How are you?
Hello, everyone. As you know, I am a retired energy sustainability chair, and I want to thank my colleagues, Lauren and Gordian, for doing such a splendid job.
Excuse me,
Not
Peter,
only
if I could
today,
interrupt, I'm sorry, Peter. If Linda, would you mind please turning down your
we
television?
have collectively,
Linda?
three of us, had
Linda,
over
excuse me, Linda, if you could please turn down your television.
the volume.
Linda, we're getting feedback.
I'm just muting her for one moment while she lowers that. I'll bring it back
Thanks for
on
that,
in 1 second. No problem.
And if there are any other callers preparing to call in or get on the line, it always helps if you can mute your other devices that might be you might be watching the broadcast on, so that we don't get that feedback loop.
Okay, Linda, are you there?
Say something about
Hi, Linda. That's much better.
Better?
Yes, much better.
Yes, okay, let me try it again.
Well,
Okay, I'll skip the thank yous. And I'll let you know that collectively we have had over 19 meeting events, from Shelter Island to Montauk to Wainscott, including East Hampton Village. I'd also like to give you a New York NYSERDA snapshot from July 2019 that 61 municipalities throughout the state are now involved with CCA, and that of those 61 municipalities, 38 are 100% renewable communities. Also, with the new tariff that ALIPA approved last month, we can expect to stimulate even more into this new energy strategy. So we look forward to engaging and continuing the engagement with our town board and with our community as we move into a new generation of delivering renewable energy to our community. And as our community continues to strive for its 100% goal. Thank you very much, everybody.
thanks so much, Linda. We appreciate all the work that you've put in on the committee over the years, moving us forward towards better, more renewable sources of energy. Michael, do we have anyone else on the line?
Yes, we do. One moment. Caller, you are on the air with the town board.
Would that be me?
Yes. Please state your name.
I'm sorry. It's Lena Tabori. I'm the current chair of the Energy Sustainability Committee. And in watching the LTV, I'm listening to Linda James, so I wasn't aware that there's a lag, I guess, between one thing and the other. In any case, I want to say two things. One, I want to provide you with a comment from Francesca Rhiannon, who's on our committee as well and who wasn't able to be here for this call. She asked me to share her thoughts, which are that the CCA for East Hampton would mean choice. It means that local residents are going to be able to choose to have more renewable energy in their power supply, thus making our town, our country, and our planet cleaner. It means that local residents will be able to choose to access group buying discounts for electric cars and other clean energy products. It means that any individual household that doesn't want to participate can choose to opt out. But for those who oppose the CCA, those seek to take away the choice from the rest of us who want to be able to choose cleaner energy. There is no downside to East Hampton Town having more control over its source of energy. There is, however, a huge downside to failing to take advantage of this opportunity. So that was from Francesca. For me, I would just like to say that of all the things the Energy Sustainability Committee has managed to move forward, this is the potential hugest step that we have. If we can increase through the power of our 20,000 or so residents renewable energy into our electricity and our gas, it will make an enormous impact on what is happening throughout the state and ultimately throughout the country. Zach, I totally understand the confusion about whether or not it comes in under a separate cable. It certainly does not. It simply influences the ultimate mix that will come into our energy supply. I'm thrilled about that. I'm also thrilled about the potential that we might all, as residents who have not opted out, gain, hopefully, membership cards that allow us to take advantage of bulk discounts for all kinds of energy sustainable products. Francesca mentioned electric cars, but I would also say Nest thermostats, solar, and the like. So this could be a massive step for us. And obviously, we want to join together with as many municipalities as possible because the bigger our impact, the bigger our impact. That's the way it's going to go. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Lena. And, this is a way for those who can't take advantage of solar like myself. I'm at 160% of the energy that I would need is actually produced, and I'm putting solar back directly onto the grid. And those electrons are actually coming from my roof and being produced and coming directly 100% from clean energy. But this is a way that others in the community can help build the renewable market and take advantage of clean energy for themselves. Not everybody has an opportunity to use rooftop solar. We appreciate all the work you're doing with the committee. And Michael, do we have any other callers regarding this hearing?
No, we do not.
Okay, well, do we have anyone for public portion? No other callers at all on the line?
There are no new callers on the line.
Okay. At this point, I just want to make a brief announcement about business reopenings across the Long Island region. Phase 1 is currently open. It opened on the 27th of May, and it included construction, manufacturing, and industrial production. Other businesses. It's been announced that Phase 2 reopenings for our region will begin on Wednesday, June 10th. All businesses in that category, which includes, for those who actually need barbers, includes barbershops and hair salons, as well as offices. And I'm told that the governor is going to allow outdoor dining to start in Phase 2. So that is this is good news. The numbers have decreased in our region to the point where it's been deemed safe to reopen some of these businesses, provided they follow the business protocols and put together their business plans. And again, I urge any business that's looking to reopen to go to the town's website, ehamptonny.gov. Look at the business lookup tool so you can find out which phase reopening you're in. If you're in a currently open phase, you can proceed once you fill out an affirmation form online that basically attests that you've read and will follow the safety protocols for your business being operated at this time. That would still include the need to use masks and take other sanitation and disinfecting protocols into place. And I urge everyone to start making those plans. You'll need to have those plans on site of your business, and you'll have to fill out those affirmation forms. We will be discussing outdoor dining at our next work session this coming Tuesday, and I expect that we'll have a robust and streamlined method of getting those businesses up and running as soon as possible. We'll go through that and disseminate the information out to the public. At this time, I'd like to move forward with the rest of the resolutions.
Peter, can I just add one thing to that, Peter? If there are, it's just about the information. If there are any business members out there that have restaurant facilities, they want to contact the town board members, myself, the clerk, to please get us their contact information for when this information is ready to move forward as far as our outdoor dining application. So just to help facilitate it, please contact your town board. Or the clerk.
We have a complete list of all businesses within the town that the fire marshal does inspections. We'll be taking that list and sending out notifications as to business opening requirements with the various links to the state. That's going out shortly. And again, until we can get those mailings out, email. We don't have email for every single business. We do have a lot of contacts, but we'll be putting that out on the town website and Facebook. And feel free to contact our office about reopening. If you have any specific questions, we'll try to help you get through that as fast as possible and make sure
everyone
understands the safety protocols that will still need to be in place. Although the numbers continue to go down, we know that the virus is still prevalent across the entire region, even though very low percentages. There are a lot of people who get tested who are asymptomatic. And that's of concern because people might think that they're fine. Again, wearing masks and disinfecting surfaces and social distancing as much as possible will ensure that we'll get all 4 phases of reopening done as soon as possible. Right now, it's about a 14-day period in between each phase reopening. We certainly wouldn't want to see any spikes. We've experienced relatively low numbers here, thankfully, but the summer season's approaching and more people are out and about. So we ask for your cooperation and patience going forward, and please practice responsible mask wearing and whatnot. So thanks for that. We have let's see. I guess we have to close out the hearing. I see Carol laughing. She just texted me.
Okay,
it's a little different, trying to do this on Zoom. You get out of your routine, but
we're gonna leave it open.
Just hold on, David. Just hold on, please. I just wanted to say we've talked about holding this hearing open until we can have a second public hearing, and in the interim, we're going to continue our efforts to educate the public. So I will entertain a motion.
A motion to continue until we meet in public, this public hearing.
Second.
Carol, you're on mute.
Carol, you're on mute, so I can't hear you. Unmute. You're still mute.
There you go.
We have to notice another public hearing, so if we're keeping it open now, why are we?
So we can't just have a continuation and then just send a notice of continuation. So it's a continuous record. John, you want to weigh in on that?
No, you could do that. I mean, you'll publish a notice of a continuation of the hearing and then close it at that point. Keep it all in one record. Or you could close it and make this hearing part of the record of the next hearing too, either way. But I think if you keep it open, then information people submit in the interim will become part of the record.
Right. So anybody could weigh in throughout this period. Then we'll notice the second, which time we'll know and close after that. So do we have a second on that?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Yes, and carried. Thanks for keeping me on the rails there, Carol.
You're welcome.
All right, so Kathy, if you'd start again with the resolutions at 578.
Sure. So resolution 2020-578 is to appoint minibus driver to Human Services, Wayne Miranda, It's a full-time position. His annual salary is $41,695.68 for a 40-hour work week.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Passed and carried.
579 is to pay a 2019 invoice for Propio Language Services in the amount of $25.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Carried.
580 is a notice to bidders, EH20-021. It's the supply and delivery of miscellaneous kitchenware items, the June 2020, and the bid is available June 4th, and it's due back June 18th.
Second.
Bless you.
Bless you.
All in favor?
Second.
Aye.
Passed and carried.
2020-581 is approval of the Montauk Farmers Market special event permit. Takes place on the grounds of the Montauk Village Green every Thursday beginning June 11th and concluding on September 10th. And then it moves to Friday beginning September 18th, concluding on October 2nd. And it runs from the hours of 9 to 2 p.m.
Second.
Can we just have a brief discussion? Nothing extensive. I just wanted to add a comment that I worked with Kathy on this, and I'm happy to see the farmers market opening. I have a little concern about the size of the Montauk Farmers Market, not enough to object to having it open, but I think it's a reminder that we have to keep an eye on the situation and make sure that the numbers as we move forward don't start ticking up and get us into trouble. So it's a little, I just wanted to say that as a sort of a caution about it.
Your concerns duly noted, and I believe we had Dr. Bruce Polsky sign off on the protocol and whatnot.
We did, and he found it very reasonable.
So,
and it's just so you know, it's the same number. It's the same number of vendors that they've always had. I think the number's around 36. Springs has 25. East Hampton has 22 vendors, and they will be every tent will be 10 feet apart. Separate entrance, exit, one path around. So it's following all of the protocol and that we've set in place.
In our resolution,
and the recommendation for electronic ordering.
I just want to say,
is encouraged.
Yeah.
Our resolution does contain continuing jurisdiction and the authority of us to revoke at any time or to require additional steps be taken should additional protocols be released or discovered or changes need to be made. So. Okay, so we've had discussion. We have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Yes, and carried.
2020-582 is appoint part-time harbor master Michael Miras to be paid from Marine Patrol Division, a rate of $25 per hour, paid bi-weekly, effective June 5th, 2020.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Yes, and carried.
Resolution 583 is appoint part-time harbor master Greg Pescum Jr., appointed to the part-time position of harbor master with East Hampton Town Police Department's Marine Patroller at an hourly rate of $25 per hour to be paid bi-weekly, effective June 7th, 2020.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Yes, and carried.
584 is a title change for lifeguards, where on Resolution 2020-200 and 2020-502, the following employees were appointed to lifeguards. Superintendent of Recreation John Rooney and Chief Lifeguard John Ryan Jr. have requested the following employees be promoted to the following positions, effective retroactively to June 5th, 2020. The hourly pay rates for each will be $17 per hour for Olivia Bravant, Hunter Fenlon, Holly Hanson, Tanner Smith, and Isabella Swanson.
Second, and congratulations.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Yes.
Yes, congratulations to all. 585 is to appoint seasonal lifeguard Emily Diner to an hourly rate of $15 per hour, paid bi-weekly, effective June 5th, 2020.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Yes, and carried.
Resolution 2020-586, the accept bid EH20-016 for the purchase and delivery of jet skis in 2020 from Maximum Motorsports. This is for the delivery of 2 jet skis for the town of East Hampton, and the amount for each jet ski is $8,995.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Carried.
587 is accept bid EH20-017 for supply and deliver trailers for jet skis from Technology International Incorporated. There's one 2020 Bigfoot trailer in the amount of $1,250 and two Triton LTWCI-X trailers in the amount of $2,615 each.
Second.
Okay, I think that's for both of them, David. The 2615 is the total for the two. And second, all in favor?
Aye.
No, that is each. It's the way that the fund lines run out on there. So it's 2615 for each.
That's a
One fund line.
total of, yeah, all right, 60, 64, whatever. Yeah,
Yep.
64, 70, 80, 64, 80. Okay, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Carried.
I have 2020-588. It's a regrade for custodial 1 and 2 titles and amend to Schedule A. This would then increase the hourly rate for Linsford Mosley, Jeanette Leal, Mary Verdugo, Derek Miller, and Sharon Rack.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Passed and carried.
Resolution 2020-589 is Payne Grant of Scenic Easement to schedule a public hearing. The public hearing is on Thursday, June the 18th at 11 a.m. It is for Priscilla Hain, and it's a scenic and conservation easement.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Carried.
Resolution 2020-590 is MZ Amagansett Trust, grant of a scenic easement. This is scheduling a public hearing. And the public hearing is again on June 18th at 11 a.m. And it is again for the scenic and conservation easement.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Passed and carried.
Resolution 2020-591 is approval for the drive-by art experience. There is one correction in the first paragraph. It says from their vehicle without leaving their car, not within leaving their car.
Second as amended.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Passed and carried.
Resolution 529 is to pay attorney registration fee for Nancy Lynn Thiel. This is a
Actually,
buy.
592.
592.
I'm sorry.
You have the right resolution. You just transpose the numbers.
I've done that before too.
I have two, so you're not alone.
It takes a village. It takes a town board to get through this.
There's 5 of us here.
Okay, so it's Nancy Lynn Thiel for the biennial registration in the amount of $375, and that is the financial impact.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Passed and carried.
Resolution 593 is to pay attorney registration fee for Thomas Crouch. That is also $375.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Passed and carried.
Resolution 594 is to accept a gift from the Accabonac Protection Committee to help us defray the cost of $1,000 to retain environmental canine services. This is the service where they use dogs to determine the scent of pollutants in Accabonac Harbor, and it helps us keep it clean. And I just want to say, as somebody who has dogs sleeping at his feet, that I intend to read this resolution to my dogs and encourage them to get to work.
I could be working.
It's a job to be done.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Passed and carried. Let's see, resolution 595 is to reimburse Maura Hill for court filing fees in the amount of $45.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Carried. 596 is appoint traffic control officers to the East Hampton Town Police Department. And that would be at a rate of $414.25.
Second.
That's Jonathan Bueno, Gregory Byrne, and Sebastian Ramirez. We have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passed carried. 597 is appoint seasonal laborers to Parks Department, an hourly rate of $18.22. Stephen Verdugo and Gabriel Vargas.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, passed and carried. 598 is to appoint part-time accountant trainee to the Finance Department, Julie Pedro.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Passed and carried. 599 is amend Resolution 2019-567. And whereas Christian Gutierrez and David Alvarez were appointed seasonal traffic control officers effective May 24th, 2020, be it resolved to be paid bi-weekly, effective retroactive May 23rd through September 19th, 2020.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Carried. Resolution 600 is establish the standard workday and reporting for newly elected, re-elected, and appointed officials for New York State retirement.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Passed and carried. 601, reject bid EH 20-018, supply and delivery of public safety communication equipment.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Carried. 602 is transfer contingency funds to the police department budget for medical supplies, and this is COVID related, and that is in the amount of $3,000.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Passed and carried. 603 is a change budget account for highway laborer Cody Hillerud. And whereas he's being paid from the highway machinery department, will be paid from the budget account. Highway general repairs, no change of salary. And that's effective June 7th.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Carried. 604 is a budget modification for the lighted crosswalks project. This is moving from $20,000 from contingency to subcontractors street lighting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Passed and carried. 605 is a budget modification for the police. And this will be moving $10,000 to the revenue line, new federal police grant line, and add $10,000 to the expense line, subcontractors.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and
Aye.
carried. 606. That's also, actually, I skipped the bottom because it's on the other page, and it would include health insurance, the amount of $10,600, also going to the subcontractor line. 606 is to approve change order number 1, EH 18-012, lighted crosswalk project, electrical contractors incorporated. Let's see, and this is taking the additional $19,084.34 for the total amount of the project to $350,143.28.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Carried. 607 is no spitters EH 20-020, printing of miscellaneous forms, June 2020. The bid available June 4th and due back on June 18th.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Passed and carried. These are tough page breaks. 608, Picano and Scahill, PC 2020, and this is to increase the cap in the matters of Lecter et al. Versus Zoning Board of Appeals, East Hampton Town, and Lecter et al. Versus Planning Board, Town of East Hampton. And that's constituting a total of $20,000, be capped at $10,000 increase.
Second.
$10,000 total. I have second. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Carried. 609 is to authorize remote monitoring and maintenance agreement, East Hampton Town Police Department.
Second.
Again, that's agreement with Total Technology Solutions for computer monitoring maintenance. I have a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Passed and carried. Michael, do we have any callers on the line for public comment?
No, we do not.
Okay, at this point, again, I'll remind all local business owners to please visit the town's website and look for business reopening. And you can follow those links to find out when your business can open or if it's already permitted to open. And please look at the protocols for safe reopening. Put together your plan, submit your acclimation form online to the state so that you can get back to work safely and protect yourself, your employees, and your patrons. Everybody stay safe and be well, and thank you.
Thank you.
Are we going into executive session?
Do we have any matters to discuss in exec, John? I believe we do.
He does.
I do. I have a, I got them here. I have a settlement of a claim.
We haven't closed the meeting.
No.
I apologize. I apologize.
That's
Did we
okay.
go off there?
No, I hope
No, we
not.
didn't. We're live.
No.
We're still live.
I'm making a
All right, so we're
motion
motion to go into executive session.
for a claim notice through the attorneys.
And also,
Close
yeah,
the.
2 claims.
2 claims.
2 claim settlements. Anything else, John?
Yeah, actually, just the 1 claim, and the other is actually a discussion on the license agreement.
Okay.
Sorry.
Contracts.
Do we have
Okay.
a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried. Thank you, everyone. Be safe. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, LTV.